Who would have thought Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, would star opposite a little-known British actress in a flop of a movie? Paradise Hawaiian Style was supposed to be the follow-up to the hit Blue Hawaii, but it ended up being so terrible that it made Blue Hawaii look like a masterpiece by comparison. The film was a disaster, but it offers a fascinating glimpse into Elvis's life and times. Elvis's character, Johnny, is based on the song Frankie and Johnny, where he flirts with Donna Douglas's character, Frankie, because a fortune teller told him a red-headed woman would bring him luck. The plot revolves around their vaudeville act, Frankie and Johnny, where Frankie always shoots blanks at Johnny, but one night, a mistake leads to a tense moment where it seems Elvis might actually die. Of course, this is all in good fun, given it's a musical comedy. The real shocker, however, was Elvis's relationship with co-star Suzanna Leigh. Shirley MacLaine was originally supposed to co-star, but she backed out at the last minute. Suzanna Leigh, a relative unknown at the time, stepped in to play Judy. But things didn't exactly go smoothly behind the scenes. Elvis was smitten with Suzanna, trying to win her heart with gifts like a Mustang, but she wasn't interested. The tension was palpable, even leading to Elvis taking a few days off, much to the annoyance of producer Hal Wallis. Despite these off-screen dramas, Paradise Hawaiian Style features some memorable moments, like the aerial photography and the ridiculous scene where Elvis and Julie Parrish perform A Dog's Life in a helicopter. But the film is riddled with problems, from Elvis's unnatural hair to his apparent lack of preparation for his role. What's striking about this period in Elvis's career is how, despite the failures, he continued to churn out film after film. Paradise Hawaiian Style was meant to replicate the success of Blue Hawaii, but it fell flat. The movie was so bad that it made Blue Hawaii look like a work of genius by comparison. Yet, Elvis's popularity endured, and he went on to make more films, including the racing drama Spin Out, where he showed off his admittedly questionable driving skills. As Elvis's career progressed, his producer, Felton Jarvis, began to focus on finding better material for him. They explored the idea of a gospel album, which would showcase Elvis's incredible voice in a different light. This period also saw Elvis collaborating with talented musicians like the Imperials, who provided a rich choral sound for songs like How Great Thou Art. Despite the ups and downs, Elvis's music continued to shine. Songs like Crying in the Chapel and So High demonstrated his ability to adapt and thrive in different genres. And while his films may have been forgettable, his music remains an integral part of rock and roll history. Elvis Presley's journey through Hollywood is a complex tale of success and failure, but it's also a testament to his enduring spirit and talent. Even in his less successful moments, like Paradise Hawaiian Style, we see glimpses of the charismatic performer who captured the hearts of millions. Elvis Presley's music journey took some fascinating turns, influenced by the songs of others and his own unique style. The soulful All Man River from the 1927 musical show Boat inspired a song that captured the essence of hope and struggle, That Lucky All Sun. This inspired yet another hit, Somebody Bigger Than You and I, recorded by the Ink Spots in 1951. Elvis had his own take on this, showcasing how his voice blended different musical influences. Elvis often drew from both black and white gospel music. A great example is Stand By Me, originally a blues song by Charles Tindley in 1905. Elvis slowed it down, focusing on the poignant lyrics, even though he had upbeat versions of it too. Another gospel classic, Farther Along, started as a sermon by a Missouri preacher who traveled by horse to reach his congregation. Elvis gave this song a slower, more reflective touch, different from the typical fast-paced versions. In 1967, Elvis's album How Great Thou Art reached the US Top 20 and even earned a Grammy nomination. This was a big moment for Elvis since the Grammy Awards only started in 1958 and he had never won before. Many believed there was a deliberate effort to keep him out of the awards early on, but this wasn't true. The awards simply hadn't been around long enough for Elvis to win earlier on. Despite not winning early Grammys, Elvis received nominations for his powerful performances. In 1959, A Fool Such as I was up for Record of the Year, losing to Bobby Darin's Mac the Knife. The following year, Elvis was up against Ray Charles for Best Vocal Performance, with Ray's Georgia on My Mind taking the top prize. Even when Elvis lost, his performances were often exceptional, like with Are You Lonesome Tonight, where he faced off against Ray Charles again. In 1967, Elvis's sacred music earned him his first Grammy, beating strong competition including the Browns, Red Foley, Dottie West, and George Beverly Shee. This win marked a significant moment, showing that Elvis could shine in the sacred music category. Belton Jarvis, Elvis's manager, discovered great songs for him to record. One such song was Down in the Alley, originally by the Clovers in 1957. It was a fun, repetitive blues song about going bowling late into the night. Though not a single release, it showed Elvis's versatility. Another example was Love Letters, which combined piano and organ beautifully, becoming a top 20 hit in the US and reaching the top 10 in the UK. Elvis also tried his hand at folk music, recording Bob Dylan's Tomorrow Is a Long Time. This was a fresh move for him, showing he was open to new sounds, even if the folk revival wasn't his usual scene. In 1966, he released Easy Come, Easy Go, a film where he sang about his adventures as a Navy lieutenant, though the movie itself was criticized for being too cynical, especially for its target audience of girls. Despite writing some songs himself, like those on the album Songs I Wrote for Elvis, many critics felt they weren't his strongest work. However, Elvis still managed to create hits such as I'll Take Love, which borrowed from La Bamba. His songwriting partner, Gerald Nelson, admitted some of his songs were weak but had moments of brilliance, like Tragedy, originally intended for Elvis. Elvis's personal life during this time also had its ups and downs. He appeared in the film Double Trouble, which, despite its flaws, featured some memorable music. Around this time, Elvis caught a cold but was visited by Dr. George Nishapoulos, who later became a significant figure in Elvis's life, not just as a doctor but as someone with influence over his finances. The Christmas song If Every Day Was Like Christmas became a hit in the UK, showcasing Elvis's ability to create timeless holiday music. On Christmas Day 1966, Elvis and Priscilla announced their engagement, but it was clear that his relationship with Colonel Parker was still very strong. Colonel Parker thought marriage would change Elvis, perhaps reducing his wild antics and lavish spending, though Elvis's love for horses, ranches, and even a Learjet showed his spending habits weren't easily curbed. The making of the film Double Trouble was another interesting chapter, with challenges behind the scenes, including unhappy producers and an unknown actress named Annette Day. The film's production was marred by delays, reflecting the often chaotic nature of Elvis's projects. Despite these challenges, Elvis continued to captivate audiences with his music and charisma, leaving a lasting legacy that continues to inspire and entertain. Elvis Presley's film Double Trouble was released in 1967, a time when the music world was changing fast. Big names like Bob Dylan, the Beach Boys, and the Beatles were pushing the boundaries of music. They were making albums that would change how people thought about songs forever. During this time, Elvis was making movies, but it seems like these films didn't excite him as much as the music scene was excited about new sounds. In Double Trouble, Elvis plays Scott Hayward, a rich young man on a quest to find himself in Miami. The movie includes lots of exciting water sports, but Elvis wasn't really into these scenes. He fixed a boat that had a bad accident before, using his own special fix-it stuff, but in the movie, this part feels forced and silly. Elvis wins a boat race with a boat that had a big problem before, and somehow manages to go faster than 100 miles per hour. It's hard to believe, but that's the kind of thing that happened in his movies. One bright spot in the film is Elvis performing the song You Don't Know Me. This song was originally by Eddie Arnold and later made famous by Ray Charles. Elvis gave it a good performance, showing more real emotion than some of the silly characters he played in his movies. Making movies was not what excited Elvis in those days. He was more interested in music and personal life changes. Right when people thought he might be ready for a better movie role, Elvis got married to Priscilla on May 1, 1967, in Las Vegas. It was big news, like finding out your favorite celebrity got married. Elvis wanted Priscilla to look more like him, with dark hair, and they seemed to have a genuine connection despite their young ages and past issues. However, this marriage caused some problems with Elvis's close friends, known as the Memphis Mafia. They felt left out of the wedding planning and the celebration. Elvis's manager, Colonel Parker, tried to explain that they didn't have time for a bigger venue, but it didn't sit well with everyone. Elvis and Priscilla's relationship was complex. They had been together for a while before they married, and some say the spark had faded by then. Despite this, Priscilla remained loyal to Elvis, even though it must have been tough for her. She even joked about how she could be a good vampire to chase Elvis around Graceland if she had been older. After their marriage, Elvis's image got a bit of a boost. People started to see him in a better light, partly because of Priscilla. Even though they faced challenges, Priscilla never said anything bad about Elvis. Her loyalty shows how strong their bond was, even if their paths eventually separated. In the end, while Elvis's later films like Double Trouble may seem silly today, they were part of his journey. His true passion was music, and that's what truly defined him. As the music world continued to evolve around him, Elvis's place in history was secured not just as a singer, but as a cultural icon whose impact still resonates today.